It is the Frank and Friends show. Hi there, I'm Frank Murphy.
I'm Frank Rosamond.
Two Franks. When I had my tonsils out, the doctor said his name was Frank, and he said, "Hey, 2 Franks and no mustard." And that joke has haunted me since I was 7.
It's going to haunt me now. Thank you for that, but yes.
Frank Rosamond, I'm glad you're here. We're going to get into who you are and why you're here. And of course, if you're a regular viewer, you've heard me mention Frank Rosamond a couple of times, so we'll get to all of that. But we got to say thank you so much for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to us on YouTube. You can smash that button for notifications. I'm trying to do it gently. We have a viewer named Renee who hates the bell.
Too much?
Yeah, too much bells. That was for you, Renee. I did very easy on the bell. You can also listen, if you don't want to look at us, on any of the audio podcast apps.
Sorry. Yes, yeah, that could be good too. Yeah.
You have that option. We're on, Apple and Google and iHeart and Audible and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's all fun and games. And then our website, frankandfriendsshow.com, has our merch store on there as well. You add a /store at the end, and you get fine things like these mugs, like this towel, which my wife folded. So you're gonna have to.
It's easy to see. Yeah,
you're gonna have to. You have to take my word for it that the rest of the show name is on here. It's not just like Fra Angelica. Yeah. It's not. We're not just selling booze, or if it's not just K.
Oh, I like that though. Yeah.
KN. Yeah. So we got all that going on. But I've been unfolding it and unfurling it in episodes, and then it gets too much. Because then you can't see the dead tortoise, you can't see the flowers, you can't see the things.
The whole ambience of
the podcast Ponderosa. Yes. Thank you for coming, by the way.
Thank you for having me.
So I mentioned in the episode last week, the marathon episode, I got a text from my friend Bean in England. He's like, "How long does this show go in? I've been listening for 2 hours." Yeah. But he said, now my friend Bean though, was a famous radio DJ in Los Angeles and is very kind to listen to the show every week. And he said he found it fascinating talking about Lulu Roman and about Bright Star. He wants to look up and learn more about the show Bright Star, which Tim is in the cast. And you may remember we talked about Frank Rosamond playing the mayor in the show. And I got confused because you're Frank Rosamond, junior, senior, third. Which one are you?
So I am senior first, and then I think the first time you ever saw me perform was actually with Frank Jr.,
yes.
My oldest son. A few years back, he and I performed together. This is now with my youngest son, Jack, who is a senior at UT.
That's where I got confused. Yes. Is that there's Frank and there's Jack.
Correct.
Okay,
yep.
Nice.
No. Yeah, that was the big thing. Is I don't do a lot of performing anymore, but
you should. You could.
That's kind. You need to hear me sing again first, and then let me know that. But
go ahead.
We'll see. Yeah, exactly. Then they wouldn't come. See, we would ruin it now. They need to have the anticipation.
Stop. Yes. We all want you to go see Bright Star in Morristown.
No. So I love performing with my kids. So any opportunity to sing with my kids. So been very, very fortunate and blessed.
This is great. Okay, so you sang in an opera showcase that we saw downtown. It was outside, and I thought, wait a minute, that guy has the same name as the Frank Rosamond who I sat with at the Friends of Literacy, East Tennessee Writers Hall of Fame. They put us at the same table, and we got to chatting and found that we had multiple things in common, multiple interests in common. And then I said, wait a minute, that Frank Rosamond, he's got the same name as the guy who's the chair of the Knoxville Opera Board, and the same name as the guy who moved here to be president of the News Sentinel. Back when...
Isn't that coincidental? All those guys with the same name?
Yeah. So, whatever happened to newspapers? They went away.
What do you want me to say? That's you really want to go there?
No, that's a joke because I'm in radio.
Yeah, we do. We sound like two old guys uphill both ways. It snowed. It was terrible.
We had to broadcast. We had to drive to the studio, and we had to put out a product every day.
You remember those days? You have to go back to the tower? Like if something would go wrong and actually go out to the tower?
You'd have to go to the printing press.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the same guy for all of those things.
Yes, sir.
But let's hit the Bright Star stuff right away because there's still opportunities this weekend.
Yes, this coming weekend.
To see the show on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon.
Correct.
So 7:30 on Friday, Saturday, 2:30 on Sunday afternoon.
Perfect.
In Morristown at the old Food City.
Yes.
Which is the new home for Encore Theatrical Company.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yes. It's huge, gigantic venue. It'll be really nice.
So they're building out a theater in that space, is what they're doing.
Yes.
Okay, and that's why they need money to buy seats. You can pay an extra. Was it $50 or $100?
Yeah, I think it's for last week, they actually did a barbecue on the first night, had everybody out there.
But you have other opportunities just to make a donation, and they'll go buy a new chair in the name of whoever. Yeah, and it looks like they're anyway. That's all exciting stuff because they used to be a nomadic theater company. I would see them in Jefferson City at the high school. I would see them in Morristown at the Walter State. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've seen multiple Encore shows over the years. This is your first?
It is my very first
How did you hook up with them? I mean, they publicized the auditions.
So Kara, who you guys were speaking of, who you know very well, she actually did The Fantastics with my oldest son and I.
At a different theater company.
At a different theater company downtown.
Theater Downtown Knoxville.
Correct.
Or Theater Knoxville Downtown.
TKD, so Theater Knoxville Downtown. Yes, that's when you get old, you got to remember things.
Yeah, that's very
like
confusing.
that. But hey, guys. So she had done the show with Frank and I, and said they needed a bad guy. Don't worry, I won't spoil it for any of you who are wondering. I know Tim was very concerned with that. So as I touch myself, maybe.
I don't know. I mean,
there is theoretically that possibility. Of course, you just Google it and then you would know.
Well, what's fascinating about Bright Star is that it's actually Steve Martin and Eve Raquel based it on a true story.
Isn't that something?
From the early 1900s that was in Missouri. So don't. Yep. And so my friend Bean says, spoiler alert, as I'm trying to tell him a little bit of this. I'm like, well, you're in London, dude. It's not like you're coming over to Morristown.
If you do, the tickets are on us.
Well, he is moving to New Orleans, but I don't think he'll be passing through town quite at the right time.
Yeah. But she called and just let us know they were looking for a couple more gentlemen. And my son apparently had already been looking at doing the show, loves the music, very big bluegrass fan.
Fantastic.
And so one thing led to another. I candidly had forgotten I had auditioned for the show because we did a video for it well ahead of time. And my son came home from school and went, hey, by the way, we start rehearsals Sunday. And I was like, I'm sorry, for what are we? So then we went out there and started rehearsals.
Oh, excellent.
So, But it'll be great. Great cast, as Tim alluded to. Just a lot of wonderful
fun times. Yes. It's like two love stories, and then of course there's the big weird twist, and then the intermission, and then it's a show. It's a musical.
Everything is answered in music.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah. Well, now your name came up yet again the other day when I was over doing a plug for Frank and Friends on Channel 6, and there you are on Channel 6 promoting your day job.
Yes, sir.
With the personality testing. That's just one slice of it, though.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Tell me, but I'm fascinated by it.
Really?
Well, what does that make me? An A?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so we after leaving the paper, opened a consulting firm a few years ago, and
it's like your last name, half of your last name.
Mondbiz.
So instead of Rosamond.
We came up with all these cool names and found out they were all already taken. So apparently, we're the least creative people on the planet. So the lawyer actually eventually went, "Why don't you just call it Mondbiz Enterprises?" And I go, "Well, that doesn't sound cool. How about Mondbiz?" And she went, "Yeah, whatever. That's fine. We'll just do that."
Well, because also Monde means world in French.
See, you were more than just a pretty face. That's nice.
Thank you.
See, I heard about all the attractive women and thought, you're not giving yourself enough credit.
Right. Now I'm the pretty girl on this show, on this episode.
But yeah, and so in that case, what we do is we just test behavioral attributes. So the simplistic way that I always describe it, personality test, but the idea being we all have our natural tendencies. I'm a talker, you're a talker, which is why we're sitting here.
Absolutely.
People who are not, believe it or not, there are people that might find us annoying.
Oh, I know. I know many of them.
I think they're in the same line for both of us. Yeah, and it's just learning how to communicate. So we had talked to some of their anchors in another story we were doing, helping folks with hiring and things of that nature. And this came up, and Eric and Tala were great, and we're just like, hey, that would be fun.
You did the test on them.
We did, just so they could kind of get to know themselves.
It's a little bit of introvert, extrovert. Yes. It's a little bit of what makes you, whether you'd like to be more methodical or a little more free-spirited.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, and it's great, and it just allows you to understand that we make an assumption people are rude if they're a certain way, instead of going, for them, these 6 words will accomplish the same thing that I may use 50 words for. And so,
that's part of the reason I really enjoy doing improv, because it forces me. I mean, I think I'm more extroverted and more comfortable and more relaxed because I've been doing improv for so long. It definitely has changed my personality over time. But it's just made everything's smoother, It made everything easier for me to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And even if I weren't as extroverted before, I'm happier this way. This is like, I found my zone where I get to go up on stage every Tuesday night and not know what's going to happen. Walk into a potential situation where you would just fail miserably, but you don't.
And where do you do that on Tuesday nights?
Every Tuesday at Scruffy City Hall. It's on Market Square.
Okay.
It's a great venue. I mean, Scott West and the family operate that.
Nice.
And this improv troupe has been around since 1994. And I joined it in 2002. So now I'm actually into the second in tenure. There's one guy, Paul Simmons, who's been with it from day one.
Wow.
And I know.
20 years. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been doing it 20 years.
That's great.
And we have several others in the cast who are not too far behind me, at the 18-year level, 10-year level, and then a couple of girls who just joined within the past 5 years, and one girl in her early 20s who studied improv in college and is now just killing it on stage.
That's
She's
great.
So funny. Annalie Hawkins is her name.
That's
and
awesome.
Jessica Brackeen and Aaron Littleton, Greg Huff, Paul Simmons, and myself. So we get together on Tuesdays and we do this in Scruffy City Hall. And it's like, whose line is it anyway? Yeah. It's the short form style of theatrical improv. So, and you might know this as an actor, that a lot of these improv games started out as theater exercises for listening and trusting. A lot of listening exercises and trust building exercises that we just do on stage for the jokes of it.
Yeah.
But you have to listen and you have to trust the other person on stage with you, otherwise you will bomb, you will fail.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
What were we even talking about? I apologize.
You mostly.
Oh.
And then we switched topics to me. And
so it worked. Yeah, you like that? Yeah,
and you lost interest.
Yeah. Well, you can't prove that. There's no actual proof of that. I was so enthralled that I'd lost
We were talking about the personality quiz of Mondbiz and how I was wondering I would probably fall into that side of things where,
Yeah, and here's the thing. Some of us are people-oriented.
Yeah.
We feed off of that. We need that. That fills our tank. Other people are more task-oriented, and so the idea being you need both.
Yeah.
You need friends of both. My wife is a polar opposite of who I am. Mm-hmm. Very detailed, very, few words, let's get to the point.
And she works for the company too, right?
She does. She and my daughter both.
That's Angel and Amber?
Angel and Amber. That's impressive. Thank you.
I looked up the website.
See. That's so good. I don't know now. Yeah, the old interweb is very. And we do, and it's great, and and what I really like versus even what you and I had done in the past in media. Obviously, being in media, you get to be exposed to a lot of different celebrities and events and things of that nature. But what I truly love about what we're doing now is like those kind of things. Where Tala and Eric, and I saw Eric the other night. They learning about yourself that you're going to have a tendency to do X, and even though I mean this, knowing it may come across differently than you intend gives you a lot more, kind of like you're saying with your improv.
You can course correct.
Insight, correct. Because even a degree or so off at the beginning puts you way off course down the road.
Excellent.
And so,
well, I love all that.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in all of the weirdness that. Not weirdness, I guess, but the multifaceted, we talked before we sat down about how sometimes we might feel pigeonholed by the person who only knows us from radio.
Yes.
I've got people who listen to me on 104.9 and that's it. That's the end of it. Or maybe see me on the PBS shows and that's it. That's the one thing you do. And like with you, I mentioned, singing, acting, business, and the Knoxville Opera, you're chair of that board. How did you fall into that?
About 5 years ago, a good friend of mine who was running Channel 6
Kobe?
at the time, Kobe.
Kobe Cooper.
That's right. Kobe.
I know Kobe well because that's the reason I got involved with, through him, Seymour Smokies and
that's right.
Tennessee.
Okay.
He was my link there,
Yeah, he had reached out to me and had been approached about helping out with some stuff with the opera. Came from a little bit of an arts background.
He was on the board.
He was on the board with me at the same time. We came on together.
Right. And his successor at Channel 6, Kim Bird is now on the board.
She is. She is. She just finished up her term and is actually a young lady. Oh. Is this on? Can you hear me? Sorry, did my internal thoughts come out? Bad. So one of her folks is joining us going into this new year. But yeah, I had just been on it a while with the arts background and then some of the media stuff. Agreed to be on the board, and then you miss one meeting, and it turns out you're the new chair.
It's it's happened to me. I was on the board of the Front Page Foundation, which put on the Front Page Follies every year. You're probably familiar. Yep. And you open your mouth and you say something that you think is, you make a suggestion. And you realize in the course of you have this happens to you in the middle of the meeting. You're like, oh no, they're turning on me. They're either going to kick me off the board. Oh no, they're not going to promote me. It's worse than that. They're not going to kick me off the board. They're going to make me the president. Yeah. And then that's how I ended up as the president.
So much the same. Yeah. Much the same. My term was coming to an end, as Kobe's was as well. I literally had planned on going, this has been great, and thank you so much.
That's my plan.
Such an honor.
I'm on the Marble City Opera Board, and I've been telling Catherine, I said, look, I didn't know it was a 3-year term. I thought it was one and done.
Well, it's like metric time, right? It's like, are we done by now? How is this still going? And they go, well, it's funny. We were thinking, and I'm like, oh God, run! So
but you say yes because you're good for it's good for you and you're good for it.
Well, and with both of us being performers, that being our first love. Let's be honest, we enjoy everything we do, but that first love is that stage. It's important for this community to have a thriving arts presence, regardless of whether it's KSO, KO, the theater groups, all of those things.
I guess technically you and I are on competing opera boards. We should duke it out.
They're all kind of part of the same family, Franklin.
Are you a Franklin or a Francis?
So what's so funny, I am just a Frank.
Okay, we'll get back to that.
Yeah, Catherine, all those guys, we're trying as we go forward, trying to kind of build a family of opera between UT, Marble City, and KO, knowing that all of those can help each other in different ways. So really trying to kind of, with some of the future plans, keep some of those things in place.
Great. Okay, I hear you. And are you classically trained as a singer, or more Broadway, more
musical theater?
Musical theater.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm loud.
Really? I'm gonna have to go back and adjust the volume on this episode, I think.
So last night so I will digress for a moment. Last night we were doing our first mic run as a pickup rehearsal that you do in between shows. And the gentleman who's running sound came afterwards and he goes, I've been doing this for years. You are the loudest person I have ever had on mic. I didn't know whether that was a compliment, and he goes, no, so I'm thinking it wasn't, but maybe it was, but so because of that.
No, if you're running sound, it's much better to have a strong voice going in that you can move down.
Bring back a little.
Than if you've got a weak voice and you've got it all the way cranked and you're getting the hum and the hiss and you're worried about every other thing.
He did say that. He said, look, you're a piece of cake. He goes, I got you, do your thing.
You don't want to have to run the mic wide open and worry about every other sound getting sucked in.
And we won't let you know that as the bad guy, that loud and scary presence, it's all pretend. I'm a big cupcake, sweetie.
Aw. Well, one of my other side gigs, I think I mentioned to you, is that I am the MC for Dr. Bill Bass, founder of the Body Farm.
Yes.
We are getting ready for Dr. Bass's 94th birthday at the end.
Think about that.
I know. He's been studying dead people all his life, and he won't die.
Send your cards and letters, care of Frank Murphy, to just.
Well, every time we do a gig, someone says to him, Dr. Bass, what are you going to do with your body when you die? And he actually has a different answer because he says, it's kind of up to my sons, really.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll be dead. So at one point, are you going to be in the Body Farm? And here's the Bill Bass groupie hats that I have.
Nice. And proper orange. That's good.
Yes. Here's the Body Farm T-shirt that you can get all of these at bonezones.com. Don't forget the S, because if you forget the S, I don't know what might happen. bonezones.com.
Yeah.
But all this great stuff. Like here's some skulls. These are the souvenir skulls that he signs. And you can buy all this stuff. Actually, you don't even technically order it through the online. You contact them. You maybe send an email or call and say, I want to buy this, and they work out the shipping and everything. But we have some of these. These are the cute little.
Look at that.
This is like, a shrunken head, like the kind that Indiana Jones might pull off of in the cave.
Yeah.
But there's some they got some made out of resin that are lifelike, and he still signs there right across the supraorbital ridge.
The supraorbital ridge.
It means above the eye, supra above orbital ridge. It's something
you are more than just a pretty face.
I know.
I mean,
well, it's one of the ways you can tell the difference between a male and a female skull. One of multiple ways. There's a bump in the back of your skull back here that men have that women don't have, and then of course the supraorbital ridge. So that's one of two. That and the hips is first thing you look for when if you find a dead skeleton. Not that you would, but you got to.
If you ever good knowledge, the more you know.
Yeah.
So
check out the hips. You check out the skull. That's where you start, and then everything else you kind of figure it out.
Call 911 after that, but first determine that so you can use this tidbit of knowledge that you've learned.
Guess what, 911?
Pretty sure it's female. Just saying, but so yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Bassett, love that. Well, there's all sorts of books also. The osteology textbook that he wrote. He literally wrote the book on bones. It's right here. He's got every bone in the human body, all 206 of them in varying details and studies. And of course, the murder mysteries that writer John Jefferson and Dr. Bass teamed up to do, the Jefferson-Bass murder mysteries, all mostly set, except for one where they travel to Florida, one where they go to Europe. But they're mostly based out of the Body Farm. There's a fictional Dr. Brockton who runs the Body Farm, and it's just exciting. And some of the cases, like the Zooman Husky case, which was a real serial killer here in Knoxville, they fictionalized that, but it's interesting because that the science is the same, where the murders happened on Catawba Lane next to I-40 and all that kind of stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's bonezones.com. Don't forget the S. So there you go. That's a nice little commercial for them. Oh, I think I still got the skull over here. But that's, I love that gig, and we'll be at Cherokee Caverns for Dr. Bass's birthday eve at the end of August. So I guess I need to come up with some material because I think we're doing a This Is Your Life, Dr. Bass.
And now you know.
Yeah, yeah. So that's fun. And one of my favorite ones that I'd like to do again is his exhumation of the Big Bopper story.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we did that one on the 60th anniversary of the day the music died, when Buddy Holly and Big Bopper and Richie Valens died in the plane crash. We did a presentation downtown, and it was so much fun because we wanted to stretch it. The lady who runs the thing says, Dr. Bass's presentation is a typical 45, 50-minute, like a classroom lecture, but we want to give the people their money's worth. We're going to upcharge this for this special anniversary, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you come up with like 20 minutes of opening act? So I thought, this is great. So I created a presentation on the life of the Big Bopper, and then I got to the point in the presentation where I said, and the Big Bopper's died, here's Dr. Bass.
He was good with that.
Hey, he's fine with it. One of the other things that happens is people will ask these really long-winded, overthought questions.
Yeah.
Dr. Bass, I followed your work, blah, 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 blah. I was wondering, best time to kill someone, hide the body, or fake my death, on all these things.
Was there a question in there somewhere?
Right. So then, and he's hard of hearing. He lost most of his hearing in the Korean War. So he's sitting there smarter than I, and then he looks at me, and I'm like, they want you to tell the story about the Connecticut guy who faked his death. Oh, let me tell you. Or they want to know what you're going to do when you're dead.
So you're playing the straight man.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So, because I know many of I probably know the answer that he's going to tell. So it might be sometimes I have a little fun with that, where I create that shortcut after the long-winded question to what he's going to say anyway.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm wondering. What?
Have you ever done that? Have you ever done broadcast?
Did radio in high school.
Wow.
I did. I worked at 56 KLZ.
That's K is West Coast.
Yep, Denver on this side of the Mississippi, and then did a little bit in Louisiana. But is
that where you're from originally?
Originally from Texas. Went to college in Louisiana.
Nice.
Just had a low voice all the way from the time I was about 14, 15, and so you could get away with, they could pay me nothing, which is pretty close to what I made even after college. But So
how did you get into newspaper after?
So believe it or not, big secret here, big spoiler. Spent the majority of my career, started in radio, went into broadcast television, and then was in cable for decades, and was recruited to oversee the digital transition of KNS, of the News Sentinel, a little over 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. So they hired someone from the...
They wanted somebody who had media background, but no direct newspaper experience, because if you and I have similar backgrounds, we're going to solve problems the same way. So they wanted somebody with the media, the leadership background, but not specific newspaper.
Makes sense.
So it actually worked. I will say to this day, some of the best friends I've ever made, some of the employees and folks that are still there.
So you came after Bruce Hartman.
I did.
I still see him around town.
So after Bruce and Patrick.
I forgot about Patrick.
Birmingham.
Patrick Birmingham.
Yep. So about a year after Patrick. But no, absolutely loved it. Now I do joke, I don't know, you're still a pretty important guy, so you probably can't relate to this. But when I was running the paper, I could make a phone call and get an appointment. And I joke that pretty much anybody you wanted to meet, you could get with and get it done.
And the president of the News Sentinel is calling.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. The name.
Yes.
They don't care.
Now I can call, and I have trouble like getting a pizza or something. So it's just a whole different respect level, Frank. So there's that. But
I know what you mean. It's one thing when you're calling on behalf of a famous set of call letters in town.
Yeah. Yes.
And another when you're saying, "Hey, I'm on this station that you probably haven't heard of." Yeah, it's
but they have now because you're there.
Maybe, I hope. I'm working on it, trying to build up that whole side.
Well, it's kind of like when you're trying to get coverage on your show that you and your son are doing, and
Bright Star. You mean this weekend at Encore Theatrical Company in Morristown?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
ETC
7:30, 2:30. What is? Go ahead. Do you remember it?
ETCplays.org. I don't remember the phone number except
your
that
mind
it starts.
is like a steel trap.
It's all I remember from the phone number is that it starts with 423 and then it's 318 and then I'm lost. But I can find it.
Well, I don't know. Do people still call anymore? I'm pretty sure.
I have a friend who I won't say who because it's someone you probably know.
We're a small community. I'm pretty sure we all know each other at this point.
But I have a friend who still had a flip phone. And
a flip phone,
and would struggle with the texting because they would have to hit
to get to the 3
multiple times,
go through the letters,
and couldn't set up the voicemail, couldn't do any of the things, and she calls me one day and says, "I need you to come over." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "My television is in Spanish," and furthermore, they're describing everything that's happening. So what she's accidentally done is sat on the remote, the cat sat on the remote, something happened, there was a power outage, whatever had happened, all of those things I think had happened. And, I look at the TV and sure enough, the Spanish audio programming is on and you hear Spanish. But she also had managed to turn on the descriptor track for the blind.
Wow. So in Spanish.
Well, depending on which show you had, some shows didn't have, like some of the older reruns, they didn't have it in Spanish, but they're describing these actions on the screen.
Frank walks into the room,
and I'm trying to help and trying to figure out what I can do to help about it.
So now, does she live locally?
Yeah.
Okay, so you had to go over there.
Yeah, it's not far. I just drove over there and I said, well, let me see what I can do. But she wants to explain everything. And it's one of those things where like, you want to just say, give me the remote and I can fix this because I know what it is. But she wants to tell you the whole backstory of how we got to this point. And I was very patient and I just said, okay, all right, I will study the project. I will take a look.
See what I can do.
Would you pass me the remote? And then next thing you know, of course, it's just, you got to find
this.
You got to find the menu that changes it back.
Undo it, call it, Well, it's been a long time with flip phones when they're back in style.
Oh.
There are new.
Are there?
You've seen those? Yeah, they've got new flip phones now, and it's funny watching young people because in this cast, other than Tim. Yeah. Right, Tim, love you, buddy. Love you. Mean it. I am the second oldest person in the cast. So
Tim's the winner in that department.
Well, he does. He's the tallest, tallest and most seasoned.
Well, Tim does not look his age, though.
No.
When Tim tells you how old he is, you're like, you're lying.
Get out of here. No, exactly.
You're lying.
Yep. But one of the kids in the cast, Larry Hazza, they were so proud. Look, these are these new phones.
Are they like smartphones that fold? So it's a touch screen that folds?
Yes, that folds. Yeah.
Well, I was part right on that phone number. It is 423.
Okay.
It is 318, and then 8331.
There you go.
And
so call between the hours of 5:15 and 5:30 when somebody will be there to answer that phone. Otherwise, feel free to
operators
go
are standing
online.
by.
Yeah, the operator is standing by in between turning off the lights before we rehearse, but you should be fine. Sure, they have.
I feel bad that you're here at the podcast Ponderosa and I didn't offer you hospitality. I had intention. I had made myself a note to offer. As soon as you came in, I was going to say, would you like to have, maybe a pouch of mushed fruit that you could suck into your mouth like an astronaut?
I'm going to go with no.
Okay.
On that.
How about, I think I also have some Uncrustables.
So you just like trying to get rid of old food, or?
Well, I had the grandkids were here we had 3 weeks of grandkids in the house. The two co-conspirators were here for a week, and then the older one, the one who they call my grand twin, was here for 2 weeks, and we had a blast. But apparently, Grandpa went to the shopping, and I loaded up. I mean, I bought these little fruit cups, and I bought the Uncrustables, and I bought the...
So now what is it? Excuse my ignorance, what is an Uncrustable?
Oh, it's a frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwich that has been... So imagine a piece of peanut butter and jelly sandwich made on white bread, but then they've like stomped it to make a circle so the crust is gone, and they've just sealed it somehow, and then frozen it, and then you have to thaw it, or the child has to wait. Which is, a thing. You put the, you say
they love patience. To wait. Yeah,
they don't. No, Artie will eat it frozen. He doesn't care. He's like a popsicle, I guess. But I'm like, you're supposed to let it thaw out. He's like, I'm not. No. And but you can't microwave it. It's warm. Do not microwave.
Okay.
Because the child kid would burn their mouth on the the hot filling. It would be the world's worst hot pocket.
That doesn't sound any better.
But they are delicious. If you like one, I can give you one.
No, but thank you. Okay. I appreciate that. Your hospitality is.
I had some guys here working on the roof one day, or one of the many home improvement projects I've had to get done since I've had all this time on my hands. And the guy was poor kid. It was he hadn't eaten any dinner or lunch or whatever, and I'm making him come back and check on something. And I said, I can give you an Uncrustable if you want. He's like, okay, that'd be great. But I don't want to put you out. So I just took a frozen one and I left it on his car.
Yeah.
And he left the window down and left it on his seat. And then I see him later. He's like, "Man, thank you so much. I wolfed that down." that was like great. That was like childhood, man.
Yes. Well, a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich on a good fresh, loaf of bread is.
Oh yeah.
Glass of milk, that whole.
Yeah. Speaking of my friend Bean, he did a whole segment on peanut butter and jelly about the proper way to make one. Which.
Okay, I'll bite.
I mean.
See.
Well, I mean,
it's that kind of entertainment you'll get Friday night.
Yes, technically, you're supposed to put a layer, and I never did this, a layer of peanut butter on each piece of bread. It kind of creates a seal. Yeah, barrier, exactly. So that way the jelly doesn't seep out.
Oh, through the bread when you see that. That actually makes sense.
It does make sense, because I was the opposite. I would put like too much peanut butter on one side and too much jelly on the other side, and then it's just everywhere as soon as you...
Deliciously messy.
It's fantastic, yeah. Well, anyway, there is a proper method, a proper technique. And my grandson does it that way. He's like a little bit of peanut butter on each side.
Because Papa Frank taught him that.
No, he did it before. He already knew. Someone else, his mother or somebody else must have Googled it. Or he probably Googled it. He's like the kind where he'll look things up on YouTube. Science experiments, and he says to me the other day, while he's here, if he could please have some Diet Coke and Mentos.
Go ask your grandma. Okay, that's
So all I had was these old cans of Diet Coke, and I said, go out in the front. Yeah. I give him he takes the Mentos, he takes the Diet Coke, and he's out in the front of the house, and it's very, very disappointing, because I think you have to have a 2-liter bottle, and I think the key is that the 2-liter bottle, comes
that point
relatively small opening given the volume of soda, whereas on the soda can it's just it's just kind of a lot of fizz, but just kind of a
little anticlimactic.
Yeah. So that's the show. You sat through a whole one.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed it.
No, this was great. I appreciate it, and thank you for having us on these last couple of weeks.
I'm delighted.
We hopefully see everybody out there.
Yes.
These kids are working so hard. There's so much talent.
For Bright Star, Morristown, Encore Theatrical. It's a great production company. You know, they do so many good shows all the time, consistently, deliciously entertaining, fun shows that you want to take the family or just go see yourself. And I wonder if I'm turning into the theater podcast, because as soon as I had Tim on the show, I get contacted by this woman whose kids have been involved in the, there's in Maryville, there's a children's theater organization. And I had gone to see their version of Wizard of Oz because our friend Kristen Farley, who used to be on Channel 6, her daughter was in the cast, and my wife is friends with Kristen and the daughter. My wife works at the school where the daughter goes, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so here we go. And then this other lady that I met, I'm discussing now, her kids were in it, and it's nice. John Cherry directs it. It's a good job. They put on a nice show, and it's a chance for kids to get to do like a real musical with costumes on a real stage at the Clayton Center for the Performing Arts. It's big time for them. Well, I get this note saying they're going to be doing Cats in January. And she says, I know you'd be excited that my daughter has designed these wigs and makeup for the Cats coming up in January. We thought maybe your viewers would also be interested. So I said, well, what does she want to do? She wants to come by maybe and put the cat makeup on me, I guess. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what would be funny, right?
You know, I would probably watch that.
So she put, well, on further thought.
We could do it in time lapse.
My daughter thought it'd be interesting to bring 3 or 4 cast members to come crawl around on the set while in full cat makeup. Maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew. I mean, I don't know where I would put. That's what I'm saying,
and the turtle might be offended.
There's not a lot of room for me to have, kids.
I mean, we can't even unfurl the towel. We're gonna have cats.
High school kids in cat leotards crawling all over the table. I think that's more than I'm willing to
commit to right now. We'll take that under advisement. We'll get back to. We'll bring it before committee and let you know.
But we'll see. It could happen. I mean, I'm a sucker. I have a hard time saying no.
Yeah.
If you enjoy audio entertainment of all kinds, and this I'm talking about audiobooks, I'm talking about podcasts, I'm talking about custom material made just for Audible, use our URL, audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow to get 30 days for free of the premium level membership. And premium members get a free MP3 download every month, or a credit for an MP3 download, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And during that first month, during the trial, yours would be free. So as you continue, you get build up those credits and use them to download, bigger things or binge on series or whatever you want to do. But try it out for free for 30 days at audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow. You're helping support us when you do that, regardless of whether you keep the subscription. But obviously, the reason they offer it for free for 30 days is they really feel that you're going to stick with it and listen to it on all the different devices. You might, if you have a Kindle, they might have the Whisper Sync, where things match up. If you're reading the book and you stop and then you switch over to the audiobook, it picks up where you left off. But if you're just doing the audiobook, same thing. If you're listening, on your phone in the car, plugged into your Apple CarPlay or whatnot with the Audible app, and then you come in the house and you tell Amazon Alexa to continue the book that you're reading, picks right up, same place. Yeah, it's great. A book that you're reading, but I mean listening is what I'm trying to say. It's fascinating.
It is.
Amazing. Anyway, audibletrial.com/FrankandFriendsShow. And of course the merch, like the beautifully folded towel. We also have bucket hats. I guess that's the end of the show. I could unfurl.
That's us.
Ready? All right, here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Here we go.
Ta-da.
Dun, 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 dun. Look at that.
Yeah. And the show just got better because I'm back here. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Just behind the curtain, right?
See, ta-da.
That's fantastic. You'll be the friends, and I'll be the Franks.
Thank you.
So all of that stuff is available on our website, frankandfriendshow.com/store. Bucket hats, tank tops. I've got other drinkware. I want to buy some of the. Well, that's why I need you. Actually, I need y'all to buy something, and I will use the profits
to buy something.
To buy a pint glass or some other hardware for the table, because that's what I basically use the money on. Is I buy batteries for the microphones, and I buy props for the show.
It'll be a bigger plant eventually.
Yes, that one I've kept alive since my mother's dead. That's 2 years now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know. I started watering it, and apparently.
I've read there's something to that.
Apparently that was the trick. Absolutely. All right, Frank Rosamond, anything else we need to know about you or a way to get in touch with you through Mondbiz, etc.?
If somebody'd like to reach out, you can just Google the second most popular Frank in Knoxville. That would be Frank Rosamond, and you can find us.
Because Frank Rufeo left town.
Okay, Okay, so third, if we're gonna go that route. But after that, no. So we actually Sandler, SANDLER.mondbiz, like the last name, MONDBIZ.com. So Sandler.mondbiz.com
As your website.
is our website, or you can just go to mondbiz.com. Two separate
It'll
ones.
get you there.
But either way, I promise if you just Google us, you'll find us.
I say I did. That's all I did. I didn't work that hard at it.
Yeah, well.
And I remembered, the Angel and Amber.
Angel and Amber.
Yeah.
And then the two boys do all their performing, and we're happy.
That's Frank Jr. and Jack.
Frank, you're an impressive man.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm putting an effort in.
Thank you again. So
you know what I
much
should
for
do?
having
I
me.
had this idea.
Okay.
I could probably teach a class on improving your memory. It's just the thought that came to me. Anyway. This is the Frank and Friends Show. Thanks for watching, liking, sharing, subscribing, smashing that button for notifications on YouTube. So however you do it, help us get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers so we can maybe start making literally sense on this program.
That's pretty good.
That's because of puns. See, we'd like to start making sense.
So it's both S and C.
I know. I didn't even know I said it until after I heard it.
You can't hide that kind of talent, people.
Brilliance. Just brilliance.
Yeah.
So help us make sense by subscribing on YouTube and telling your friends about it. It is the Frank and Friends Show. I'm Frank Murphy.
Frank Rosamond.
And we'll talk to you again next time.